Jake Paul has recently addressed a possible fight between both him and KSI. This fight has kind of been years in the making. People have been wanting to see KSI versus Jake Paul pretty much since they started their boxing careers. Jake Paul kind of entered boxing because he was called out by KSI. He ended up fighting KSI's younger brother, Deji, then fought Nissan Gabe, as Aiden Ross recently asked him about it in a recent podcast where Jake says the fight will happen.
You ever gonna fight KSI? I know he's ducking you, straight up. I know he is. You told me many times. But, like, come on. Is it ever going to happen?
It has to happen. I know it will at some point.
When? Because now he's fighting Dylan Dennis, which, honestly, I like Dylan a lot. I mean, look, people can say what
Dylan?
I like Dylan.
That's a bold statement.
But hold on a second.
What about Dylan do you like?
I think he's a cool guy. Whenever him and I met up, you know what I'm saying? He's cool with me. Mutual respect. But I just don't it doesn't make sense for KSI to fight Dylan Dennis. It
doesn't. Logan already beat him easily.
I just think it doesn't make sense.
But none of KSI's fights make sense.
He's gonna do the old soccer
play. Exactly. He literally just wants to do easy ass fights to like get through. And
Tyson Fury, when he fought him, you know, that made sense. Tommy's, excuse me. That made sense.
At some point, it's going to happen, but at the end of the day, like, I'm doing much bigger things than him doing these random fights that I don't know if it's pay-per-view or when. I don't even know when he's fighting Dylan or what it is, but like the numbers are going to be trash.
So Jake says he knows the fight will happen at some point. Recently in his new show, he made his feelings clear about how he feels about KSI.
And he's the person that Jake hates like most in this world.
Man, KSI.
As KSI went on Logan Paul's podcast prior to Jake fighting Mike Tyson, and they kind of laughed about the fight a little bit, laughed about the fact that Mike Tyson is an older guy, with Jake Paul not taking too well to that.
Logan is constantly undermining me any chance that he can get. He's sitting there with my biggest enemy talking about the biggest accomplishment of my life.
Who's he gonna fight next?
Someone older. Someone older.
Yeah.
It's just not what brothers should do.
Jake even called Logan after seeing the podcast air and was pretty mad at him, getting on the phone and just going off.
I'm gonna do everything I can to make it the biggest event possible.
Yeah, but no one's not gonna watch Mike Tyson because I said he's old. Everyone knows he's old.
You are the closest person to it, and you're undermining it. You're sitting there with KSI talking shit about it.
Bro, what the podcast did you watch? I upped you the whole time.
I'm so lost, brother.
Bro, who was your yes man?
Jake Paul has been training, getting some work in the gym, as he's posted some footage of him on the speed bag recently. As well as new footage of him doing some shadow boxing drills and a little bit of work on the heavy bag.
Come on.
Both Josh and Simon from the Sidemen have recently talked about who would be most likely to have a secret burner Twitter account, as they said it would be KSI, pretty much just glazing himself on Twitter.
Most likely to secretly have a burner Twitter account. Yeah, I'll be honest. I think it's JJ.
This is the answer, because he has the crypto one, which is now his main.
I think he's also the kind of person that would love to make one to go into the KSI community.
I bet he has an account, right, where he is like, maybe he's the fan.
So all he does is he just praises
Glazes
KSI.
himself, yeah, and like he gets into beef for people who diss him, because he can't do it on his own account because it looks like salty. But if he does it on another account, it's good. I might do that.
Wade's boxing trainer BJ Flores was recently talked about a potential matchup between KSI and Wade in the ring. He said Wade would probably be one of KSI's toughest opponents to date, besides maybe Tommy Fury, and he doesn't want to rush that fight, but it could be a possibility.
So it's more likely we'll see Wade versus KSI than Jake Paul versus KSI.
You know, everyone's got to quit trying to rush that fight. I think if Wade gets a couple more fights, he'll be more competitive than Dylan Dennis, or he'll be more competitive than any of JJ's last fights except Tommy. He'll be more competitive. Wade will be more competitive now than all of JJ's other fights except Tommy Fury. And Wade will beat Dylan Dennis' ass too, no question about it. He could beat Dylan. So, but I want Wade to have a little more time. But we're talking about it. It's definitely there's something there. I think it's a naturally the guys naturally just kind of, there's certain guys that just kind of get under your skin, and I think that's Wade to JJ. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, and it's an interesting dynamic, you know, it really is, with Wade and Mams and you know, JJ, and they're all kind of they do business together, but they take shots at each other, and it's just the wacky world of misfits, and I love it.
BJ also said that Wade's return to the ring is probably likely to go down pretty soon, maybe in June of this year.
I'm looking forward to Josh Bruckner to Wade, both fighting in June, hopefully, and then Tristan hopefully in July, whenever they announce some of these cards. The guys are working hard, they're ready to go. We're excited for them. I'm excited for them because I see the work they're putting in every day, and I know it's going to be a big year for the entire team. So
it seems like Wade is looking to get back in the ring, get back into the mix on Misfits. As Ryan Garcia was asked if he would fight Jake Paul, Ryan Garcia and Jake have been friends for a while, from even before Jake made his boxing debut, as Ryan says he would beat him, and Jake isn't as good as he really thinks he is.
Would you fight Jake in a professional prize fight?
Why not? What I see is that he's not as good as he thinks he is in his head.
Years ago, you guys were doing videos together, you guys were taking flicks together, doing face-offs, but now there seems to be an issue. What happened there?
I don't really have an issue with Jake. I had an issue with Logan. I don't really have beef with Jake, even to this day. I mean, he might have beef with me.
Would you fight Jake in a professional prize fight?
Why not?
Would you give up weight if it came to that?
Of course, you know, of course.
I mean, you have to admit, Jake, right, the event with Mike Tyson, over 100 million people watch, so there's value in
in the fight. We're gonna make a bunch of money.
Right.
You know, he's obviously gonna think he's gonna win.
Yeah, or he's definitely gonna think that.
But again, what I see is that he's not as good as he thinks he is in his head.
How long would that fight last?
4 rounds, because of his weight, maybe. I mean, he didn't even do anything to Mike Tyson.
Right.
Yeah, Mike Tyson's 60. He was wobbling on his own self.
So Ryan says, why not do a fight between him and Jake Paul? It would get attention, it would make money, it would be a big event. So from his perspective, it makes sense. One glaring problem would be the weight discrepancy. Obviously, Jake Paul fights at cruiserweight. Ryan Garcia now fighting at welterweight, which is about over a 50-pound weight difference. So I don't know how they would be able to meet there, but if they were to compromise at a catchweight or something, who knows what may happen.
Tell us quickly how you would have done in a fight against them. All right, Ryan Garcia.
I would knock him out.
Dr. Brian Sutterer recently posted, remember when Jake Paul said Mike Tyson had Parkinson's disease before their fight and everyone just moved on without asking questions? You don't randomly come up with saying someone had Parkinson's, which, by the way, has no cure. After calling out Anthony Joshua, Jake Paul's manager said Jake Paul sent me his list of desired fights for 2025 and 2026 on February 10th, 3 days after the Canelo matchup fell apart. On that list were 6 fighters. One was Anthony Joshua. I called Jake to make sure he was serious. Unequivocally, he was and is 2026. So let me know your thoughts and reactions in the comments down below to the situation. Jake Paul talking about the KSI fight, saying it will happen. But I'll be sure to keep you guys in the loop with all future fights and updates. So be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you guys enjoy.